try to play with the values that we have. Let us generate the list inside the code itself. And then once we become comfortable with all these things, then we will get into the file. So now I will move on to the next topic, which is conditional. That is basically loops. I mean, loops in the sense, basically they talk about conditional statements like if else, not loops. Conditional statement, let's look into this. My suggestion, I hope everybody logged into this Jupyter. Open up another fresh file. All ready? Very simple. Same story, only little bit of change in the syntax with respect to other languages. There is not much difference. Okay. Conditional statement. Where do you use a conditional statement? When you want to branch out, or when you want to segment some certain actions, or when you want to divide the flow into multiple directions, that is when you use the conditional statements. As the name suggests, based upon certain conditions, you direct the flow of the program in many ways. Okay, that is how it is. So it is about if else is one combination. Without else also you can write a combination. You can simply write an if statement. If else also you can write if, elif, and else. This is the another. These are the two things. That's all you need to know. There is not a big complication over here. So here, I am using the input, and whatever the input it is trying to take, I'm going to condition that with respect to integer. That means if the user enters a real number, I will not allow that. Okay, because I'm using this int function. So please enter a number. That means basically I wanted to enter some number, which I'm going to collect that number, read that number, and store it into the variable called score. Now the condition, if score less than equals to 0, the only syntax difference is colon. That is the catch. If score less than 0 colon, then score equals to 0, print negative number change to 0. That means if user is entering negative number, then I want this kind of a message. What is the other possibility? User may enter 0 also, right? So I use the condition elif. That means elif is nothing but else if. So I'm again double checking. I'm checking whether the score double equals to 0 colon print entered number is 0. That means user entered a number 0. What are other possibility? User may enter number 1. I again else elif score equals to 1. Enter number is 1. What are other possible combinations? Else, if it is less than negative number, I have taken care. If it is a 0, I have taken care. If it is 1, I have taken care. Okay. Else, enter number is more than 1, and its value, whatever the value is, it is going to be that value. First of all, I stop allowing the user not to enter any real number. Second, I handled multiple flows. I mean, I handled the flow of the programming depending upon the value that I am supplying on to the variables. Okay. So if I run this, I'm running this. Please enter a number. So I say 50.0. What it should do? It should throw me an error. Right? Are you with me? It will throw you an error if I run this. Again, I am running it. Okay. If it is 0, this message should come. Enter number is 0. See here, 0. Again, I'm executing this. I say minus 10. It should tell me negative number, change it to 0. Negative number, change it to 0. I'm simply putting some message. Any message you can put it. I mean, it's up to you how you want to deal with the flow. Now, again, I'm running this. Okay. Now I say 1. Enter number is 1. See here, this is executed. Enter number is 1. Again, I'm executing it. So I'm entering valid value, let's say 30. See here, enter number more than 1 and its value is 30. This is the way you branch out the program flow. So this is how your if else condition is going to look like. Okay. Guys, 1 minute, guys. I need to take this call for 1 minute. Excuse me on this. Yeah. Chapade. Hmm. నేను నీకు అంటే ఏది ఎవరి నుంచి కావాలి నీకు అడ్మిన్ నుంచి ఫెసిలిటీస్ నుంచా ఇన్ఫో అడ్మిన్ నేను ఆయిల్కి సరే ఓకే కరెక్ట్ నాది క్రియేట్ అవ్వలేదు ఇప్పుడు దాంట్లో సో నాదేం పెట్టకండి మీకు చూసుకుంది మండే చూసుకుంది రైట్ అవునా పంపించి నేను ఇప్పుడు బయట 1 అవర్ 1.5 అవర్ పడుతుంది మీకు అది ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ లేకపోతే ముందు ఎంటర్ చేయండి సంథింగ్ సమ్ లైన్స్ పెట్టండి మళ్ళీ మార్చుకుందాం కావాలండి ఓకే రైట్ నో ఉండకండి నన్ను అడిగితే డోంట్ వెయిట్ ఇట్ ఓకే వీ విల్ డూ ఇట్ ఈవెన్ టుమారో ఆల్సో నాట్ ఎ ప్రాబ్లం ఒక్కటి వాళ్ళది ఒక్కటి చూసి కొంచెం యాడ్ చేసుకున్న తర్వాత ఓకే apologize guys, I sincerely apologize. Okay, there is a infrastructure related issue which I have to give some information. So are you done with this code? Friends, are you done with this code? Did you practice at your side? Okay. You can use multiple if statements. Not necessarily you have to use if else. You can use multiple ifs. What is the difference? There is no difference from the execution from the result perspective, but from a performance perspective there is a huge difference. Okay, so here please enter the score. I'm using the input function. I'm reading the input from the user and I'm defining two variables called cutoff, pass mark. Cutoff is 70, pass mark is 35. Now I can write the same functionality in using if, elif and else, but I want to use only if. If score is greater than or equal to cutoff, you got distinction. Print, you got the distinction. If the score is greater than equal to pass mark and score less than cutoff, see here I'm using and. So this is a multiple expression statement. Print you have passed. If score less than pass mark, sorry, you have failed. Okay. Without using else or elif command, we are doing this. Let me run this. So let me enter 30. If I enter 30, sorry, you have failed. Say 50. You have passed. Say 90. You got distinction, buddy. So this is how it is going to be. The one catch that you need to remember. Hello, everyone. Are you there with me? Are you with me? Very important aspect of if statement here in especially Python, indentation is very, very important. Are you with me? Indentation very, very important. Let me show you what does that mean. Now, see here, I am deleting the space before the print. Now let me run it. What system is doing? System threw an error. Please remember in Python, this indentation is very, very important, especially when you're dealing with your control statements. Other places it won't follow, but in control statements, it follows the indentation. So if I press tab, it gives the indentation. Now if I run it, it runs. Did you guys try on your side? Please try these things. All of you. Shall I move on? You're okay with this? Guys, be interactive. Why are you going to be so silent? It's a yes or no. That will save time. We will move forward. Okay. So below code, you're all seeing it. And that's all about else. If elif else. If score equals to 100, print your off sum. Else if, that is called elif, 70 less than or equal to score less than or equal to 100. See, this is my intent of writing this code is to tell you this way also is possible. See here this one and see here this. Did you observe the difference? It's a very flexible language, my dear friends, and it's very easy language to learn, provided if you have not learned any programming language earlier, Python is a cakewalk for you. You can easily pick it up. You understand, oh, this is what it is. But you already know multiple languages, so much of information sitting in your mind, then there is some kind of a confusion may occur. So I'm trying to show you where that confusion may possible. These are the places where your confusion will be. So be watchful of your coding. See, the same thing. I can use the same thing and also I can use score less than or equal to and again score less than or equal to. I can write it like this. This is the elegant way of writing. This is called, that is the beauty of Python. If you write like this, if people say you're writing you're writing like a Python guy. Else print unit. Let me run this same story. It says you are intelligent because I entered the score in the earlier score is 70 because it is 70. Since it is less than or equal to, it is telling you you are intelligent. Shall I move on? Anyway, let me give 30 seconds time so that others can practice it, or maybe you can type it on your interpreter in your notebook. Okay, guys. String 1. Chandra works for Microsoft. If within quotes, if Microsoft in is a keyword, okay? I'm using keywords with respect to my if as part of defining my expression, valid expression. So I'm picking the word Microsoft here. If Microsoft in string 1, print I found it. String 2, world is going through tough time. If tough in string 2, print corona time, tough time. Let me run. See here, I found it. That means it is able to read this Microsoft Word, and it was able to validate the expression. Because this expression becomes true, so it executes this statement. Same situation here. In the second string, I wanted to validate whether tough word is available, because tough word is there in this string. So this statement becomes true. Hence, this prints this corona time, tough time. Is that okay? I'll pause for a few seconds. You can practice it. Whatever I'm teaching, if you practice it after 16 classes, I can tell you good amount of data science programming in Python. Yes. I am not talking about the object-oriented programming of the Python. This is completely more relevant with respect to the data science. Please keep this in mind. Okay, so your comfort factor will go up when we get into NumPy. In NumPy, you have, this is much simpler. And from there, when you move on to pandas, it will be much more simpler. And once you get into the data frames, you feel very comfortable. Okay. Next statement. Indentation matters a lot. That's I told you already. I just wanted to show you the same thing, but it's a different logic which I've written it here. Okay. What I'm doing, enter a number. If whatever the number I'm entering, I just wanted to check whether the number is an even number or an odd number, or it is also divisible by certain number. That is what I am doing it. See here, if num %2 equals to 0, that means when the remainder is 0, you entered an even number. Okay. Again, I'm writing another if statement here. Inside the if loop, again I'm starting if exactly here. Okay. Then again, when you want to write some kind of statements here, you have to provide the indentation and write it. If you don't do that, the system will throw you an error. Let me show you. Now it's working. Instead, let's say I will run this. System executed it without even telling you anything about it. Okay, because I have not entered anything, so it did not went through this part. Let me run this once again. If I say this system is not responding, did you see this? This is mainly because, not because I have done this, but something else. That is, the system is expecting me to enter certain text now. Let me go back. It is still expecting me to enter some value which I did not. Yes. Interrupt the kernel, sir. Yes, that is the correct answer. Okay. So that is the correct answer. So interrupt the kernel. What do you mean by that, third? Share it with everybody, whatever that you know. See, this is how we learn the subject. Okay. Pradeep figured out another way to delete the fruits. See, this is something good. I appreciate you tried it. Go ahead, Pradeep. Just text, just say, guys, any questions in Pradeep's um, code? This is what I want. This is how the class should happen. Hmm? So what he has done, he has used a for loop for I range, okay, and he has done this 0 count 1, whatever the count 1 it is coming from here, okay. So he is using the count function. From the count function, he is initializing a variable, and that variable he is using with respect, he is using in the range function, and so many times the delete function will repeat around. He is, instead of using the delete, he is using pop function. Yeah, two things. One is iterated the loop. Second, instead of del, he used the pop command. There's so many ways you can do that. Good, Pradeep. Okay. Okay. So here, when I ran this, system is waiting for the input from here, and I simply ignored that. I went into the code. System still waiting for my input. So you have to break. There is a kernel which is running. Okay. If you see it, if you go into your home, you see here running. Okay. Yeah. Here you see here conditional. This is the file and it is running right now. If I do this, it will reset once again. Let me redo this for you. See here, once I shut down, the kernel is not running anymore. Now if I come here, okay, now I'm not doing, I just opened, I'm not doing anything. I just run this. System is not responding anything because your kernel is not working. See, your kernel is not working. So what you have to do, you have to go to the kernel, you have to restart. Are you with me, dear friends? Is it working now? Please, did you guys understand what you mean by this kernel? There is a thread which is running, system is maintaining behind the scenes for you. The Jupyter is maintaining it, which you call it as a kernel. And that kernel, because there is an exception happened or there is an interrupt that happened, okay, where from the system is waiting for not system, rather I say the interpreter is waiting for the input from the user. Without inputting it, since simply I bypassed it, because of I bypassed it, system still will be waiting it. So whatever command I am going to give you, it will not take it because it is waiting for some valid number that I'm going to enter into. Okay. So how do I do that? Then what I have to do, I have to stop the kernel and I have to restart again, once again. So I go into my home here, instead of files, wherever there is a running. Come over here. Now you see, again it is running because I killed this. I pressed this shutdown button earlier. It took few seconds to shut down. After the shutdown is done, I should go back into my file, Python file. Again, we have to restart my kernel using this option, kernel restart. There are many ways to do that, but this is best way, easy way for you to do this. Did you get what I'm trying to say? Please respond in the chat, please. Everyone. Did everyone understand what I'm trying to say? Very good. Moving on. Now, there are few things which are very useful here in the this one. There are certain keywords in Python which has certain values. None is one thing. If none, print, this statement will not execute. Else, print, I appear because I am not none. Okay. This none function is not good. If I run this, system will print you by default this. See here, let me run this. See here. I appear because I am not none. By default, when you press and enter, there is not this none keyword becomes false. Because it is false, it moves into else. So just to show you, if true, execute this, else execute this. True by default, always true in the in this Python Jupyter interpreter. Now if I run this, you see here, this statement will execute. Okay. So if I make it as a false, then else statement will run. See, never executed. Okay. This none is a keyword. Okay. This none part, basically there will be some situations in your programming where there may, because of some reasons, the input into the program will become empty. Maybe some exception might have arrived or something might have arrived. In such a situation, this none keyword becomes true. Then you are expected to basically do certain actions. Especially sometimes what you do is in your error handling function, or in some other places also this will be useful. Okay, so by default this none is not true until unless you set it as a true. I can do this way also. See here, I can say none equals to true, but system will crib about it now. Wait, hold on, just I'll show you something. Okay, because it is a keyword, you cannot assign the value to this keyword. So it is telling you can't assign to keyword. That means this is a built-in keyword function by default is set in Python, which is given to you for some purpose, not some purpose. This is very useful, especially when you deal with the error handling, or when you are trying to write some condition where nothing is valid. That time you wanted to write a function or write a if loop. This will become a wonderful facility for you. Is that clear, Sai Prasad? Now, if I run this, okay. So these are all important. That is all about if loops. Okay, guys, I'll give 30 seconds. If any one of you not yet entered, practice this in your system. Please do. Please do so. Okay. Now let us look at loops. 9 conditional. We are getting into loops. Okay, I think we should complete today this part. Loops. There are two loops. You all know, for loop, while loop, and these for and while loop are always uses. Most of the time they use this range with respect to the data science. Fruits: apple, orange, banana. This is how the syntax is. For I in fruits. In is a keyword. Okay. For I in fruits, print I, comma, length of I. What it means is, let me run this. What it does is, this is the, what is this? This entire fruits is a list object. You can write if else ladder. N number of times you can write, Pradeep. Yeah, that's what we have shown. Right? You can write if else, yes, multiple conditions. That is also possible. Okay. It is up to you how you want to code that. Is that clear, Pradeep? Okay. Okay. Coming to this for loop. Now what I am using, this is a list. Within the square brackets, I am defining 3 list items, that is apple, orange, banana, and making it to fruits. Fruits is a list object, and I am trying to search in this list object these 3 words, and at the same time I want to know how many letters are there in each element. That is what I'm doing. Length is a function which will give you length of this particular word. So it is, see, first one, it is I. You don't need to, if you look into C, C++ or any other languages, I has to be initiated, right? You have to initialize the variables. You have to have some values to be assigned to them well in advance. Here you don't need to do that, because since it is a list object, system by default knows. It figures out automatically. So for I in fruits, print I. That means whatever there in the I, print I in the sense, first time when the loop runs, I becomes 1. Okay. Then it starts with 1. What is this one? It is the apple. Sorry. Then second it becomes orange. Third it becomes banana. So I value will be 1, 2, 3, whatever it is, or 0, 1, 2, whichever it is, based on the type of the list you are defining over here. The first one, it will be red. that is apple will be printed. Print I. This I is, it is not printing the value. It is printing the, sorry, it is printing the value inside the list. Apple is sitting here, that value it is printing. Please understand this. Is this clear? Please respond. Is this clear or did I confuse you guys? Okay. Now, why I can use some other letter also. Simple. Here, for I'm using W. For W in range 5 comma 20. I'm using the range function. That means every time when the range value is getting incremented starting from 5, that value will be passed on to this variable W, and it goes in the loop till it reaches the 20. That is how it is. Here it is printing 5, 6, 7, 8 up to 19 it print. 20 it did not print because by the time it reaches the 20, this statement becomes true. So system automatically comes out. Clear? Let me pause. Okay. So again, this code again is the same similar kind of a thing. Only the difference is I am defining an increment factor. Here I have not defined any increment factor. The moment range function pass two variables, see the two values inside, automatically the increment factor is set as 1. But I want to set the increment factor here. I can see here. I'm saying I want to look into this data 10 to 20 with the increment factor 2. Right. And another thing is Pradeep, if it is not a range function, if it is a list where if it is a square brackets are there, then the upper value will be excluded. Since it is a range function, it will work like this. So let me show you that difference. I'm inserting a cell above. I simply say range 5 comma 20. Sorry. What happened? Name list one not defined. So what? Oh, equal to. Yes, you are right, Pradeep. Let me take my word back. Yes. Up last value will be excluded. Okay. Even sometimes I also do mistakes. Thank you. Thank you for pointing it out. Okay, Pradeep. Guys, everyone understand what Pradeep is trying to say? Perfect. Okay. Moving on. Here, I'm changing increment factor. I'm using it as 2. So automatically number will be starting with this 10 goes up to 18 because last value is excluded. Fair enough? Now, I'll wait for 30 seconds so that you can practice on your side. Okay. See here, another thing is alphabet. Okay, these are all built-in words. Okay, you need to remember. For alphabet in string, I'm just defining a string as twinkle twinkle little star. Print alphabet. That means in this string, it is reading each alphabet, okay, and it is printing. Now, instead of alphabet, let's say I put it as 5. What will happen? It did not fail anything because this entire thing is in the quotes, which means even the 5 number is also treated as a string only, is treated as a character only. So for alphabet, when I'm trying to look out for an alphabet in a string, it is always true. That is the point I want to derive towards. Is that clear to you guys? Are you with me? Yeah, Pradeep. Go ahead. What will be number of iterations here? Number of iterations will be the length of the total number of the characters, including the space. So many iterations it will go. It will go till it reaches the end of the string. In C, C++, you see end of the string is always like a slash n. The end of the character, end of the string or end of the character, you will know, right? So all those things will be taken care by the Python behind the scenes for you. Okay. Okay. So this is how I want to print. Okay. I use simple for loop, very simple logic to print this way, this kind of a pattern. Okay. String I'm initiating as space intentionally. For I in range 0 to 9, there are two things. See, there are many ways to write this. I want you guys to look at it. This is, maybe you can try it out and you can come with tomorrow's class. Try to do this, try to achieve the same pattern differently. What I'm saying here is, there are 5 stars in the center line, right? So I wanted to divide, based on this, I decided just use if else loop, if else condition, and put that in a for loop and generate this. If you really want to write the program in C programming, I will guarantee you'll be writing minimum 30 lines of code or 20 lines of code at least. Right? Here you don't need to. It's so simple. For I in range 0 to 9, okay, why 0 to 9? There are 9 rows. 3, 3, 6, 9. So from 0 to 9, I'm taking 0 to 9. That means 0 to 8 means 9 rows. Okay. Upper value is not considered 9. I less than 5. I wanted to increment this with this star and space, because this is how I wanted the pattern to be printed. Simply print it. So till 4, this condition will execute. But after 4, okay, string 1, I wanted to remove the my last 2 characters and then print it. Just this -2 reverse function is making the whole story so simple. Did you get this? Try this. Try this in a different, using a different logic. Okay, sorry. I'll wait for a few minutes. Sorry, few seconds. If someone wants to practice it in your Jupyter notebook, please do it. I'll wait for a few seconds. Shall I move on? Please respond in the chat. Anybody who wants to say wait? Are you practicing parallelly or not? Or you are simply listening to my... Great. Okay. Now I'm defining a string, my string. Count the statement alphabets. There is something called enumerate. So I wanted to basically show you this is enumerate is a function, is another wonderful function which will give you, assign you the values. Okay. So not only that one variable you have to check in the for condition. The purpose here, purpose to pick this example is to basically show you that you can do multiple things at one shot in the for loop. N alphabet. For n comma alphabet, that means I'm looking at alphabet as well as some number. In where is that n is coming from? This coming from this enumerate. This which will take this string into this, and it will get you the what is the number, what is the total count it is going to be, and print that alphabet first and n. I just wanted to print the alphabet first and then n. N is starting from 0. 0 to it goes till the alphabets. Let me run this. I already ran this. Morning only I wrote all these files. See here. Even the space is also counted. Did you see that? I'll wait for 30 seconds so that some of you can still might be typing this command. Are you done, my dear friends? Moving on. Find the ovals in the statement which we entered. See how many vowels you have in this? Well, what are the vowels? A, E, I, O, U are the vowels. 0, O, U, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 vowels are there for you. So in C, C++, you you use the strip functions to get this one. Here it is little slightly different. I'm initiating a variable called vowels with space. Why I'm initiating? Now no need to initiate it, but still need to make it myself clear. For alphabet in my string, if alphabet in AEIOU, then I want the number to be count. See, vowels equal to the space. Everywhere I want to insert a space plus alphabet. So that particular alphabet, I'm going to print it here. For alphabet in my string, this is my string which you have seen on the top. In that, again, I'm writing an if loop, if condition, where I say if alphabet is within this particular AEIOU, which are nothing but vowels, then vowels equals to vowels plus alphabet. That's what this means. Vowels equal this, you know, right? Plus equals to symbol. Fair enough. Run this. You see OUEAEEEA. Total how many? 9 vowels are there. 9 are visible here. These are all different variations of for loop, my dear friends. I mean, just how you play with it. Okay. Now, find the even and odd numbers given a number. Now I have given a number 0 to 9. If I run this, all even numbers are this, all odd numbers are this. Simple. With such a simple logic, you will be able to find out your even number and odd numbers. Why I have chosen this example? You have only seen alphabet. Here you have seen for number. This is another built-in word. For number in num. Do it. For alphabet in string, do this. That is the catch. That is why this example has been taken. The rest are all simple. I'll pause for a minute probably. You can practice in your code, in your notebook. Friends, are you done? Raise the hand if someone who has not done this. Okay, moving on. Again, it is the same thing which I wanted to show you. Only difference I wanted to show you is you have seen for alphabet, for number. Here is a for item. See here. For item. Yes. Vowel set is case sensitive. It's up to you how you define it. Yeah. Try that out, Valika. Okay. Here is the logic. I don't need to explain this. I don't want to explain this logic. Okay. So just remember, this is something like this. You can also use the for item in list of inventories. Why? This is also it can be done. This is exclusively because they are in the square bracket. That means list of inventories is nothing but your list object. So when you are using the list object, you can also use this for item if they are all string kind of a variable. You can also use word also for word. Alphabet is one thing, word is another thing. I'm not interested to explain the logic of what this program is doing it, okay? But rather, my whole attempt is to basically to introduce you this for item. That's all. So I'll pause for a few seconds so that you can type this and figure it out. Move on. Shall I? Okay. See here, word for word. Sentence equals to hello dear friend. For word in sentence, I want to split. So this word, this sentence will be split into two words. In Python, these they work tab, slash, and they also work in Python. Definitely they work. So these things you will be using only when you are using the files. Especially when you are trying to read the data from the different data files and then you are trying to create a data frame. So that is when this will be, these new line characters or your tab characters will be defined as your separators. That time I will show you how how this Python is going to accept them. They work everywhere. Okay, Pradeep. See here, I'm using the split function, applying onto this particular what do you call it, statement or string, and just printing the word. So you learned for loop, and at the same time there are four possible built-in keywords: alphabet, number, list, and word. Okay. Now slightly, just is a logic. Okay, this is the logic. Sentence check. Basically, I'm creating a sentence and equating to string 1. Hash corona hash virus is hash scaring the world. For word in string 1 dot, first I'm splitting all the words. After splitting all the words from this sentence, now I am using a function called starts with. I'm using the function there is starts with, and I'm passing this hash. If any word that starts with this particular alphabet, print that particular word from where 1 to rest of it, because this is 0 in this particular word. Hash is at 0th position. Now I want to print from first position to rest of the story, rest of the word, because already split function has been applied here. So this entire thing hash corona is one word. Now in that one word, skip this first one, skip the hash, and from the C onwards you print the rest of the word. That is why it is printing coronavirus scary. See here, I ran this coronavirus scaring. different. It's just very easy. Okay, it's all about how you play with it. So now you have seen how to use your for loop on the list. You have seen how to apply the for loop on the character string, and now you will also see how to use the for loops with respect to dictionary. These are all the different data types, right? Rest of the data types are very simple, straightforward. Integers and all those things, yes, you can easily do it. Obviously, you have seen using the range, you have seen the integers and the other stuff also. Only thing left out is dictionary. So here let us see how the for loop is going to be done on the history. The four keywords which we have used here: for alphabet, for number, for item, for word. Is that okay, Prasad? Okay. Now I'm moving on to the dictionary. Now I'm defining a dictionary. Here, in place of my key, I'm defining 1, 2, 3 are my keys. Not necessarily the character is always the key. Okay. And what is the value? Value is a list object inside the dictionary, because you know dictionary is a heterogeneous thing. Ramya, comma 21. That means the name of the person is Ramya and her age is 21. Ravikant, age is 25. Tarun, age 22. And keys are nothing but 1, 2, 3. Values are these: Ramya 21, Ravikant 25, Tarun 22. Now, if I find out the types, it will tell you it is a dictionary. See here, it is a dictionary. Now, see here, because it is a dictionary, I can use the word built-in words key and val. These are all valid for the dictionary. If the data type is a dictionary, you can always use these two words as your built-in words. For key and value in students dot items, items is a function. Print key and comma value. See here, items means basically each one it treats as an item. So from this particular dictionary, it picks up this entire thing as one item. Under this item, key value is 1 and key is 1 and value is Ramya 21. That is what it is printing here. Hope this is clear to you guys. Hello, are you clear? Moving on. For key in student dot keys, keys is you have seen these keys functions earlier, keys and values. Print key, see it will print only 1, 2, 3 because in place of key you have 1, 2, 3. Similarly, if you use dot values, it will print the values only. I can use for earlier in this example, I have used for key comma value. Here for key comma value. Here I am simply using key. Here I am simply using val. These are all the facilities given to you with respect to your for loop. It's up to you how you want to deal with it. Now you have another loop left out is while loop. Okay. So this is just to basically access the values in this one. What can be printed, that is how it is. Only to this is, you can try this. Okay, I don't want to get into that logic part because there is no this we already discussed about it. Now looking into the while loop, I want to print a Fibonacci series. What is a Fibonacci series? Generally in C programming, when you are learning, people say, why don't you write a program for a Fibonacci series? You will be writing like, oh my goodness, let me write this 15 to 20 lines of code. Here you are simply doing it in 3 lines or 4 lines. A, B equals to 0 and 1. Sorry, B, okay. A comma B, A having 0 value, B is having 1 value. This is what it means. Now, while A less than N colon, this like if loop, if condition, similarly you have to use colon. So here is an expression, while an expression colon, that is the format, that is the syntax. While A less than N, print A comma, end equals to space, A comma, B equals to B, A plus B. What is the Fibonacci series? 0. You take the next number, add that one, 0 plus 1, 1, 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 1, 3, 3 plus 2, 5, 5 plus 3, 8, like this. This is what the Fibonacci series is all about. Okay? This is the while loop, guys. Yes, I'm waiting for that question, Pradeep. This is the cross check for me that you guys are actually practicing it behind the scenes or you're listening to me. Okay. Guys, in this program, in this situation, I have not defined n value. Then why the system, how come system is able to execute this? Nth term, but it can go any number also, right? See here, that means somewhere in this in the situations in this one, your n is actually defined somewhere, not in this program, but in the same kernel which we are running up to this one, where something is value. Some value is actually stored over there. Same value, it is picking it up and printing up to 21. User input can actually fix this. Yes, you can do that way also. Good. Good that you are one, at least one person is, I can see, attentive. And that's why I deliberately paused and I did not say anything. I waited whether you guys are responding or not. You're looking into the code or not. Okay, guys, I will stop it here today. We have to cover this. Tomorrow we will cover this comprehensions and map. Very, very important. The best, the better, elegant way of writing the Python code is comprehensions. If you are good at this, you will be like, you are one of the good programmer of Python. Python comprehension way of writing will show you your talent. This is where people try to exhibit their capabilities. Okay. Okay. So I'll stop it here.